Let's preview. Today we are previewing Liverpool at home to Swansea, and both teams not in the best vein of form, but obviously Swansea in the worst vein of form. Apart from the Palace win that they got there, they've had 5 losses in the last 6, whereas we have had 3 draws in our last 6, 2 wins and 1 loss. So we're probably in our worst vein of form that we've had in the season so far, and it's not looking too great. But the one thing that we've got going for us at the moment is that we haven't been beaten at home since the 17th of January last year, which was against Manchester United. And I think that goes in our favour quite a lot, because Anfield for us so far this season, and for most of last season as well, as we can tell, whether it's a draw or a win or anything like that, whatever, it seems to be that our home form is vital. And there's a stat or something like out of the 17 games that are left, there's 10 games that are going to be at home for us, and that's going to be huge for us to take advantage of the atmosphere that Anfield can give us and the amount of support that the supporters obviously give us at home as well. It's unbelievable how important that's actually going to be, especially in these types of games here. When you're looking at the likes of Swansea, who've obviously gotten a new manager, yes, they got beat 4-0 by Arsenal, but it wasn't a performance by Swansea that deserved a 4-0 defeat, if you know what I mean. Yes, they lost against Hull in the Cup and got a win against Crystal Palace, which is no mean feat, to be honest with you. But then losing to Bournemouth, losing to West Ham, losing to Middlesbrough, all by 3-goal margins, isn't the best for Swansea at all. Now, ourselves, we have not been... Some of the performances have been okay. You can take the 2 Plymouth games that we had in the Cup, and yes, we were playing different teams that we probably won't be playing in the league, I imagine. Maybe some of those youth players that we did play, the younger players like Ojo, the likes of Wilson and all that lot, maybe some of those guys could eventually start coming into the first team a little bit, but I don't imagine those teams will be anything like what we're going to play against Swansea. Not in my opinion anyway. I could be wrong on that one. People are making a lot of the draw and the loss that we had against Southampton and the draw that we got against Sunderland. Got a victory against Man City and a victory against Plymouth as well. But even so, and the draw against Man United as well, which was a better performance, which actually probably deserved a win in the end, but we just couldn't close it out. And it looks like we do have the performances. There isn't a cutting edge. If you look at the goals that we've actually scored in those last 6 games, we haven't scored a great deal. When you compare it to other parts of the season that we've had already, we were scoring quite a lot of goals, and then there's a fear that the goals are going to dry up. And for me, I think that the goals are starting to dry up ever so slightly, and something has got to change. We are missing Sadio Mane more than anybody could ever think. Even the player himself, who said that we will get on and it'll be absolutely fine, no worries with him gone, and yet he's playing really well over with Senegal, and we're not struggling. We are getting good performances in, but he's a very good provider. He's unbelievably rapid, and he's very good with the ball as well. Yeah, we are missing that, and we haven't got anybody to come in and replace that. And as I'm predicting, still no January signings at all, and I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. So we're coming into this game against Swansea, and it looks like Swansea are going to be an absolute turnover. And for a lot of the predictions, like Magic Merce, as they call him, friggin' Paul Merson, fuck off. Magic Merce, as they're calling him, is predicting a 3-0 victory, and I think that's a bit disrespectful of Swansea. Yes, they got beat 2-0 by Hull. Yes, they got beat 4-0 by Arsenal, 3-0 by Bournemouth, blah, 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 blah. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the calibre of team that's beat them in the past. All that matters is us coming up against Swansea and us trying to play our best. That's all we've got to try and do. Focus on us. You can turn around. If we don't end up... The thing with those predictions by the media and pundits and stuff like that, if we don't go and win the game 3-0, then it's a massive criticism of the way that Liverpool have played. My only point of view is, I don't care as long as we win. If we end up winning, if we won a load of games 1-0, fine, I don't care. Why? Because we won. That's the key element there. If we win by a 1-goal margin, I couldn't give a shit. Really, really, really couldn't. If we smash a team, great. That's fine. I'm absolutely acceptable of that. Of course we are. But if we only just get 1-0s, I'm not bothered as long as we win. For me, this is going to be an important game for both teams. Swansea are going to be wanting to get something so they can get themselves, so they're going to because Swansea at the moment must be fearing for relegation. They have to be fearing for relegation as an actual real threat. And for a team that has, they do have quite a lot of quality players in their team, and they just haven't had the guidance from a good manager so far this season. They really haven't. They've been unfortunate in that one. Yes, I think that they've got quality in there, and I think it's maybe going to be a bit too soon for them to get a victory against us. Remember last time that they played us? they made it very, very difficult for us. And they were under Guidolin at that point as well. They did make it difficult for us, and they've got the players to cause you problems. They really do have players to cause you problems. And if they get opportunities, and if they start playing how like Swansea played when they first came up into the Premier League and stuff like that, they will cause problems. Absolutely correct, they will do. And obviously the uncertainty around our defence at the moment, with this Joel Matip situation with FIFA that just will not seem to resolve itself. FIFA at the moment are like that higher manager in your company that you might work for or something like that, that, they'll hammer you for stuff. But if you request something from them, you just don't get a response. And that's what this looks like right now. They look like the bell end manager at the top who just doesn't want to give you an answer. And that's what it looks like. Friday afternoon was meant to be D-Day, according to Jurgen Klopp, of whether Matip would be ruled as eligible or not. Obviously, Jurgen Klopp can't take the risk of putting him in the team, because if he puts him in the team and it ends up that he's ineligible after the fact, then there's probably going to be some further action taken either against the player or the club or the manager, whatever. So it's really uncertain times over Joel Matip, who is arguably one of our most influential defenders that we have, who has such an effect on the likes of Klavan, Lovren, and whoever else is going to play in that position. So instead, Lovren and Klavan have been paired together, and that's not been too bad, I've got to admit. Sometimes Klavan does have a couple of clangers in him. It's in there. It's definitely in there. We've got less so than Skirtle, but still, there's obviously going to be some in there as well. And it's the uncertainty of that defence as well. When is he going to be allowed to come back in? It's unreal. It's like we've got a player at our club that is just sitting there because he can't do anything. He announced his international retirement, but apparently they didn't get it on paper. So it's not actually, they don't recognise it as a retirement, and it's like he's no-showed or something like that for the African Cup of Nations. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit in my opinion. But we will have to put in a very good performance regardless. Speaking of the back four and obviously the goalkeeper, now for this game, I do imagine that it will be Mignolet back in goal. I just think that's the way that they're going to default in this one. I think Mignolet, he has put in some pretty good performances, and he'll probably come back into the team anyway after the FA Cup game. Then the back four, I imagine if there's no injuries, Milner, Lovren, Klavan, might be the other way around those two, Klavan, Lovren. And then Klein is apparently due to come back in as well, but they're not, it wasn't 100%, I'm not entirely sure. It might be different now, but by the time you watch this, it might be confirmed that Klein's back in the team. But I'd like to see Klein in the team. If not, and it's Alexander-Arnold, I'm okay with that, because Alexander-Arnold handles himself pretty well in those cup games he's come into. Then we get into the midfield, and Henderson is due to come back as well, which will be big, because it's understated how big of a job that Henderson actually does for Liverpool. Some people have turned around and said, oh, he's like your N'Golo Kante. It's like, he's not. Okay, let's get that straight away. He's probably the closest thing we've got, but that's still quite far away. However, Henderson does an unbelievable job as a captain. He puts in very good captain performances. He can drive. He can go from box to box if need be. But the way he runs that midfield, and that is what we've been missing since he's had his injury and that little heel problem and stuff like that. That is what we've been missing. And I can't wait. I hope he comes back into this one. Obviously, we've got options if he isn't. But I'm going to go on a limb and say that he is coming back in, and he'll be in the starting 11. And it'll be alongside, I imagine, probably Emre Can. As long as there are no injuries. I haven't seen any injuries come out in the media or anything like that. So things should be all good on there. But I imagine it's going to be Emre Can, big physical presence, coming up against some of the... And he's got, obviously, the pace. He's got some skills himself as well. But he'll be able to put himself about against Swansea. It'll be really, really good. Having Emre Can and Henderson in that midfield, that would be awesome, in my opinion. And then we'll probably revert back to similar... Lallana as well in that midfield. Probably still go to a 4-3-3, I imagine. Mainly because Lallana, no reason not to take him out of the team. Coutinho's going to come back into the team as well. So it all looks really, really positive at the moment. Then we've obviously got the forwards. Now, you've got Firmino and Origi and Sturridge. Who do you put where, and who do you bring in, or who do you leave out? In my opinion, it is still my opinion, I'd have to go with Origi and Firmino, and I don't know which way you put those around. Obviously, for me, I would be putting Origi up front. He is a striker primarily. Firmino is probably the more flexible one and more likely to go out wide. That's just my opinion though. So, but that is what I would do. It depends again, on the setup, you could switch one of them out. You could have maybe Firmino up front, Sturridge out on the right-hand side. He hates having to do that, apparently. If you go back and look at media interviews that he did years ago, he does not like being played out on the wing. He wants to be in the central role. However, for me, so far, he's still not cutting it very well coming into that role. And I think that Origi, with his age and his talent and ability, and if he's got the service of Coutinho coming back into the squad, Firmino, Lallana and such in behind, it just makes sense for me to have Origi up front and maybe Sturridge out wide, Firmino comes on later, or Firmino out wide and Sturridge comes on later, or whatever options you want to go with. But that would be my starting 11, so I'll have to run through that again. So it would be Mignolet, Milner, Klavan, Lovren, Klein if he's available, Alexander-Arnold if not, obviously, Henderson, Chan, Lallana, Coutinho, Origi, and for me, it'd be Firmino. I just think that I think that Sturridge is a much better player when he comes in off the bench, and he wouldn't like that. No player wants to be known as... Look at Javier Hernandez before he got shipped out from Man United. He hated being known as the super sub, but at the moment, Sturridge is a super sub. He does very well off the bench, so that's what I would go with. Now, in terms of a prediction for this one, I think this is one where we will get a couple of goals, but I think that's about it. And I do think that we're going to be culpable for them. You know, they're going to be wanting the new coach that's obviously come in, new manager that's come in. They're going to be maybe firing on all cylinders. And I think it's going to be the same result that we had last time out, that we had at Swansea. I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory to Liverpool. I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory. There could be a lot more positives in there. I just think that we're going to be culpable to ship a goal. But, hey... That's just what I'm predicting. That's what I'm predicting from a Liverpool point of view. Let me know your point of view, whatever that point of view might be, as a neutral, as a Swansea fan, or as a fellow Liverpool fan. Get it in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I know that Swansea are quite low in the table, but let's not disrespect the opponent and the type of quality that they do have in that team. And let's remember how difficult they made it for us when we were firing on a bit of form. And they really did give us a bit of a test back then as well. And they were struggling then. They're struggling now. They could still present us with some problems. So let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on the video. That would be so very awesome. Subscribe if you're new around here. Again, very awesome if you could. That'd be so great if you can. Thank you ever so much for watching. And I'll catch you later.